Your story started with you having the car parks and then washing the cars and the entrepreneurial journey. You went into corporate and then you started your own business. In terms of goals and achievements, was it sort of everything that you wished for? Was it everything that you wanted?
Yeah, I had created a definition of success in my mind that came through school and spending time with friends and friends' families. And, my view of the world was success was growing a small business, having a family, moving into a nice home. And those were tick boxes in my mind. And because one of the companies I worked at had a £6-7 million revenue as part of a bigger group, but that was our UK team, that was the ceiling which I saw. I saw that as a big company, and that's the company that I saw. So yeah, that's how it was defined for me. And that's been a really interesting experience, meeting a lot of those ambitions over the last 18 months. And then where do you go from there? That's something which has been an ongoing journey.
A journey for you or a journey for the business?
For me. Yeah.
Break that down a little bit. So what does that look like? Because you were talking about you had the ambition to reach this scale, you hit it. You had the ambition to reach the next scale, you hit it. Like what? It's a cycle, right? But like how are you handling each time that happens? Because are you handling it well in terms of appreciating the fact that you've done that, or are you sort of, let's just move on to the next?
Yeah. A mentor of mine talks a lot about celebrating milestones. And I think I'm quite good at highlighting those milestones, taking stock and celebrating them. It would be very easy to be on a treadmill with this type of thing. So one of the features of Keen Partners is that we work to a calendar year and set a lot of objectives in that year. And then we reflect and spend time in January just taking stock and looking back over that prior window, and also seeing it in the broader context of the 7-year journey as it is at the moment. And then being able to really appreciate where we are. But my view on it has changed a lot in the last 18 months. If you'd asked me before, what's my mindset towards this, I would have said, I'm really goal orientated. And I've added in a second line to that now, which is I'm goal orientated, but I'm journey minded. And what that means is the goal is important, but should never be pursued if it's going to be a detriment to the journey. The journey is what we have. And what I mean by that is right now we're aiming for a handful of goals. But if that destroys the company and the journey and the culture and, ourselves in pursuit of that, that's not worth going after. And I think there would be a lot of people that would say to me, that's not the right way to see this. You go after it at all costs. And then, the struggle is important. And I agree, the struggle is important. But for me, there's a line. I will adamantly fight the fact that if it's worth going after both, it's worth trying to have your cake and eating it. And it is the harder route. It absolutely is. But if you end up reaching the goal and you look around and you go, everything else that is important to me is shot to pieces, is that really worth it? I would always argue no.
But I guess from my side, what is the difference really between journey and goal? Because loads of people talk about goals, and I would just love to get a bit more clarity on this, because a lot of people say you got the journey, you got the goal, but in terms of like when you set that goal, you do think about the journey of getting there. How are they so different in your mind?
The journey for me is the day-to-day. It's the number of hours you're putting in, the type of work you're doing, the people you're working with. For me, the journey is about living in alignment with your values. And that is where my definition of success has shifted entirely. Ask me 5-6 years ago what's your definition of success, I would have given you some really tangible answers. X number of employees, certain revenue, or a certain income level. It would have been quite tangible. Having gone through a journey of achieving a lot of the big boxes that I wanted to achieve or thought I wanted to achieve in my life, I've reflected on it and changed my definition of success entirely now. For me, the definition of success is living a life aligned with your personal values. If you can do that, then yeah, there's a strong argument to say that you are a successful human being. And if you think about that, what does alignment mean? What does it feel like? The answer to come back are things like, I feel fulfilled. I feel engaged. I feel happy, content, motivated, really positive attributes. For me, the journey is about alignment. If you can live in alignment, then that is the ultimate success, I believe.
I want to dig into that answer a bit more, but before going into that, I think it might be interesting in terms of you said your definition of success changed. And for a lot of people, including me before, again, that definition of success was the same in terms of X number of revenue, X number of employees, X number of partners, whatever. What happened for you to have that level of reflection to change that definition? It doesn't change every day. It needs to be a fundamental thing that happens for you to change that view.
Yeah, a really miserable period. Yeah, I think the challenge with idolizing a single moment in time is that it's a bit like meeting your heroes, right? You're expecting everything just to fall into place when you reach the top of that mountain.
Yeah.
And what I'm arguing is it's not about reaching the top of the mountain. It's about loving every step of the way up and appreciating the fact you might never reach the top, but that's also okay because the journey is so great. And when you reach the next ridge, you can look around and go, yeah, this is pretty cool. Like, I can't believe we've reached this ridge. This is awesome. Let's recognize this ridge, but let's carry on. For me, I reached the top of the mountain, which I'd created in my own mind and went, oh, what do I do now? Do I climb up that one over there? I don't know. Do I? And so I guess my advice for those on the journey, everyone's on that journey, is take time to recognize the journey you're on and not necessarily idolize the mountain, because if you get there and you've sacrificed everything along the way, you won't be grateful that you're at the top of that mountain. It's never going to be as good as you thought it was going to be, but the journey can be. The journey absolutely can be.
That miserable period, what did it look like?
I think
don't mind sharing, of course.
I think just a lack of connection with what I was doing and not really understanding how my input linked to my output, not understanding what the next part of the journey looked like. It was quite a tricky period to go, now what? And it does shift your mind and it forces you to think. And I'm grateful for it, but I don't necessarily believe that everybody needs to go through a period of discontentment as part of their learning experience. Hopefully, listening to someone that's maybe been through that, you might go, actually, that's quite interesting. I can avoid that.
What's interesting though, is that I think loads of people recognize this and they know this. And this was me, at least, when I was listening to podcasts and I was like, yeah, but if it's me, it's different. if I get to that level, I'll appreciate it and I'll be different. Like, so it's only like recently that my mindset's shift in that way, but you actually got to that stage.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, you can still be hyper ambitious and still go after big goals. I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, just chill, just look at the journey and think about milestones. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is be mindful of what's happening day in, day out in pursuit of those milestones, and having an understanding of your values will lead you on the path to making better decisions, which mean that you live a more fulfilled existence during that process. And will also be a sense check on the milestones that you're going after and whether or not they are really meaningful for you. And I think that's the most important thing here.